In this video, we are going to be looking at variables. So in programming, variables are names given to computer memory locations, which are used to store data in computer programs. So when we are writing computer programs, we deal with data. We are going to be collecting data from the user. We are going to be reading data from somewhere. It could be from the hard disks or from the internet. So we are going to be dealing with data coming from different sources, and this data will need to be stored on a memory location to be used subsequently in our program. So that's what we use variables to do. So we have this data and we need to keep it somewhere. So variables are more like storage. It means to store data in our program. Let's just put it that way. So a placeholder for our data. So we have data. We are going to be dealing with data in our programs, and we need a place where we can keep this data for subsequent use. So that's what we use variables for. So if we have, let's say I have this space in memory. I have this space. I want to store data in this space. Now I need a way I can make reference to this space in memory. I need a way I can make reference to this. So in programming, what we do is to give it a name, and that name is what we refer to as a variable. So if I want to store first name of my users here, then I can give this first name. So I've given this a name of first name. That I've given this memory location a name, first name. So that is a reference for me. So anytime I call first name, the system is going to pick whatever value is stored in this space, and I will have it. So that is what a variable is. So this is a variable, and is making reference to this space I have here for storage, this memory space I have here. So right now this is empty, and if I want to store data, I can go ahead to store data here. So if I have a name like let's say John, I can store John here. So anytime I call first name, then the system is going to pick what I have in this space. So okay, this is, I wanted to draw a line, but okay, sorry. But anytime I call this variable name, first name, then the system is going to pick what I have in this place and give it back to me. So we are going to look at how we can create variables in our program and how we can use them. So variables are used to store values such as numbers, strings, or objects. So these data types we mentioned in our last video. We are going to be having data that will be in this format. So we can have data that will be numbered, can be string, can be boolean, can be undefined, can be null, can be symbol, can be arrays, can be object. So when we have data in any of these formats, we can go ahead to store this data on our in our program. So to create a variable, there are different ways we can create variables. We can declare variables in our program. We have three keywords that I use. We have the var keyword, we have the let keyword, and we have the const keyword. So we are going to be looking at these three keywords and how we can use them to create variables in our program. So let's go to our so this is our our text editor. So I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to create a new file. I think I should zoom in a bit. Let me use a font size of 16. Alright, so let me create a file name, a file called variables. Okay, so we have a file called variables.js, and in this file we are going to be creating and using our variables. When dealing with variables, there are three terms I want you to take note of. So we have declaration, we have variable declaration, we have variable initialization, and we have usage. So the first thing in making use of variables, the first thing is declaration. So declaration is more like creating your variable, making the system identify a memory location with whatever name you want to give it that location. So for instance, we have this memory location, and we want to give it this first name, right? So when we do that, that's declaration. We are declaring this first name. So anywhere we have first name in our program, the system will know that this is referencing this memory location, and the system will be able to pick the value from this memory location for our usage. Okay, so so we have, that's what declaration is. So in declaring a variable, we create that variable to be used in our program. Then we have initialization. Initialization is adding or assigning a value to a variable. So after declaring a variable, after creating it, the next thing is we want to pass a value to that variable. So passing a value, assigning a value to a variable is what we call initialization. And after doing that, we can use it in our program. Let's say send it to the backend, print it on the page, or do whatever we need to do with it. So the first thing, declaration. Now to declare a variable, there are three keywords we make use of. We have the var keyword, we have the let keyword, and we have the const keyword. Okay, so to declare a variable, let's say we want to declare a variable called age. So we'll do something like this, var age. So that's it. So var age. So doing this, the system so this is created, and this is associated with a memory location, and anytime we make reference to it, the system will be able to call or associate it with the memory location. We'll be able to pick it from there. So if we say age is equal to 78, then basically there is a place in memory where this 78 is stored, a memory location like this reserved for age. So this will be tagged age like this. So if I say age is equal to 78 like this, then we're going to have 78 printed here or stored here. Okay, so that's what happens. So first, a memory location is reserved when we create a variable, and that name is associated with that reserved memory location. And then when we initiate it, when we initiate it, when we pass a value to it, then their value is stored in that location. If I go ahead to, if I say age, if I change the value of age and I assign it 100, then whatever was stored here will be overwritten, and then we'll have 100 stored here. Right, so that's what happens when we create variables. Okay, so this is how we can create and initialize variables. So now I mentioned we have 3 keywords. Aside the var keyword, we have the let keyword. Now var keyword is an ancient method. Using the var keyword is an ancient method of creating variables, and for some reasons these tend to misbehave in our program. So if you are writing a big program, then you want to avoid this. So we have a more recent or more modern way of creating variables. We use the let keyword. So this is what I would recommend that you do in your programs. So if you pick some programs written in JavaScript, especially programs that have been written years back, you are going to see the var keyword. So that's why I introduced it to you, but you should avoid using var keyword. So always use let in creating your variables. So to declare your variable, you can use let, the let keyword. So we have let age, and then we assign it a value here. So this is declaration, and this is initialization. Then the other one is const. The const keyword is used to create a constant. So when we create a constant like this, 78, then if we try to assign a new value here like 100, we are going to get an error because this is a constant and we can't reassign it. So once you have assigned a value to a constant, you can't change that value. So if you are writing a program and you need a constant value, it could be something like a pi, and most times we use uppercase to represent constants. So I can have it in uppercase like this. So I can have constant pi is equal to 3.142 or so as the value of pi. So I cannot, once I have this constant, I cannot change it anywhere in my program, so it will always be this value. If I try to change it somewhere in my program, then I'm going to get an error, right? So that is the use of constant. So if you need a constant in your program, you can create it like this. So you use the const keyword, the name of the constant, and then you assign it the value. And if you want a normal variable that can change, something like, let's say, name. So the difference here is this can change. I can reassign this a new value. So I can say name is equal to Mike, right? So but this is a constant, it cannot change. All right, so that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. See you in the next video.